Tonight, as we near the end of Black History Month, we're remembering the early days of the civil rights movement.
You know, there are just so many untold stories. Who better to hear them from than former Ambassador Andrew Young?
I sat down with the civil rights icon for an exclusive one-on-one. To hear Andrew Young tell it, Martin Luther King Jr. didn't volunteer to lead the civil rights movement. He was drafted.
I think it was 2 weeks after he mailed in his dissertation. Rosa Parks sits down in the front of the bus, and he gets drafted into the leadership. I mean, he wasn't even trying to run this. He was in the back of the church running the mimeograph machine.
From making copies to making history, King answered the call in 1955, leading the bus boycott in Montgomery, Alabama, that would come to define the movement's nonviolent tactics.
He was drafted and had just an hour to get up and address the nation and the community on what this movement was all about.
The movement was all about equality, and Dr. King knew what they were up against. After the bus boycott in Montgomery, King took over as president of the newly formed Southern Christian Leadership Conference, which aimed to bring together black churches all across the South. Decades before Andrew Young became the first African-American ambassador to the United Nations, he was an ambassador on behalf of the black community.
I would put on a shirt and tie after the demonstrations and go down and talk to the business community.
It was Young's job to broaden support for the cause of civil rights. He did. In 1965, as the Selma to Montgomery marches were set to begin, King had advice for his deputies who would be leading the way, including a young John Lewis.
Dr. King said specifically, don't all of you all go to jail. And so actually we flipped a coin, and odd man was Hosea Williams. And at first he got mad and thought we'd tricked him, but then when he ended up on the front page of Life magazine on the cover, he was proud to have been leading that march.
The route is now recognized as a U.S. National Historic Trail. And in fact, this weekend marks the 55th anniversary of the Selma to Montgomery March, what came to be known as Bloody Sunday. Our special coverage from Alabama starts Sunday right here on CBS 46.